Living the life.
And we're going to move on to our first guest for the evening.
Yes.
Juliette Grassby Lewis, as we mentioned, from Lewisham College, who, like many other teachers, are having to cope with the current restrictions while making sure they keep their families safe.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Juliette.
Welcome.
A very
Thank
warm
you.
welcome. Thank you for joining us. As we said, we were just remarking on your fantastic background.
Oh, yes.
Brilliant. I love it. And people try and get better than the previous guests. Brilliant. Love the grandfather clock. Absolutely fantastic. So look, what's it like? I mean, how's the college adapting to life under COVID?
It's really hard. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating for the teachers. It's really frustrating for the students. Our students are 14 years upwards, and our facilities team have been working really hard while we were all in lockdown, measuring everything out 2 meters. So we've got some stairs you can go up, other stairs you can only go down. In the classrooms where I used to have 25 or more students, now I've got 11 desks, and the desks are all placed out in a very kind of stereotypical sort of the student staring at me, whereas normally we teach, the students are on tables and they work together and I walk around them. So the college has worked really hard to be safe. We've got sanitizers and wipes in all the corridors, in all the classrooms. We use it all the time. And we try to be very strict. We wear our masks, and if we break the 2 meter distance, we have to wear it. If we stay 2 meters apart, we can take it off. I teach in the ESOL department. That's English for speakers of other languages.
Right.
So a lot of our learners are Asian, are black, are very ethnically diverse, who are traditionally vulnerable to COVID. Sorry.
I'd imagine a subject like that, it'd be nigh and impossible to teach with the mask on, right? Because your facial expression, the movement of your lips is so important.
Exactly. So I take mine off a lot. Sometimes I wear a visor, but it makes me feel a bit like a welder. And
Design technology, that's the department where you need to be at a time like this.
What about for young people? I mean, young people are not really into rules and regulations. They want to hang out with their friends. That must be a real challenge.
It's a real challenge with adults, let alone young people. I mean, the young people are a bit more used to being told what to do and obeying. But with our adults, it's really difficult. Once you're in the classroom and they're sat at their desk and they can't resist getting closer to each other, talking, showing each other their work. And I have to remind them to put their masks on if they get too close. And the next thing I know, I've turned around and the mask's off and they're talking and looking at their work. It is really difficult. I mean, we now have all our breaks in our classrooms. We don't use the canteen. And we've only been back 2 weeks and they're generally very good. But we have to keep reminding myself as well. We have to keep reminding ourselves all the time because we forget.
It sounds like you've got a great system inside the classroom and you can manage all the tables and how to talk. But how are you managing in the playground, or how are schools managing in the playground? Because naturally, the kids, it's lovely weather, a day like this. You want to be playing, football, cricket, whatever. How do we kind of keep that in a safeguarded environment?
Well, in my college, which remember, we have 14 years up, we haven't got little kids. Outside in the quads and the playgrounds, it's easier because you're outdoors. And it's very easy to keep physical space. You shout anyway when you're outside. It's the hardest thing is in the corridors, in the toilets, in the classrooms. That's the hardest thing. And when, our learners really want to be there as well. I think that's the difficulty. They're so excited to be back. They've been out since March and they're so happy to be back and see their old teachers and their old friends. But they have to contain that excitement and restrict themselves.
Speaking of excitement, what was it like for you? Because obviously this was a long break, right, for teachers, for students, 6 months almost. What was it like when the students were back into the classroom?
Well, we didn't have a break exactly. We were teaching every day. We were teaching on computer. So I think we all got fatter because we were sitting down all day long. And but when I got back in the classroom, it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful, just to see real human beings and the energy you get. I mean, it's very draining working on a computer all the time. People think, oh, how nice, you're at home all day. No, I'd much rather get up an hour early, commute to work, have real human beings. You know, it was fun at first.
Yeah.
For the first week or two. I've got a young child who's at school as well. So I'm upstairs in my office upstairs trying to teach online. My son is downstairs in this room where we are now, supposedly working online, but I could hear him upstairs sort of
What,
you know,
what about the
I'd
negative
be in a
impact
management
and
meeting
people's
I'd
well-being?
text my husband and say, get him back to school.
What about the negative impact of what's happened and people adjusting to the new rules, regulations? How's it impacting people's mental health and the general well-being?
It's hard. We have, I mean, some of our learners there've been safeguarding issues over the lockdown. Some people, I mean, I've got one student who was in a 1-bedroom flat with 4 children.
Wow.
You know, and she wouldn't, none of them could go out. She wouldn't let any of them out. She was pregnant. She felt too vulnerable to let her kids go out. You know, it's very hard. It's been really hard. I'm fortunate. I've got a house, I've got a garden, and I live with people. Some of our students are alone. Some of them are several to a room. Some of them are in situations which are not safe. You know, our learners are not rich. We are an inner city further education.
So how do you make sure that that vulnerability outside in people's lives, you try and contain that, you know, issue in the college?
The college has worked really, really hard to maintain safety, to alert authorities when necessary. Or we've got counsellors at the college. They've set up, you know, when we're in lockdown, Zoom meetings and, you know, visual meetings with people. And when we send them out videos of things to do to help your mental health, how to exercise at home. We send it out in different languages, Arabic, French and Spanish and English are the ones we usually translate it into. But it has been very, very, very hard for some students. And then we've got others who've loved being with their families all the time. And
I've got to ask this question, and please be honest. You do be honest. Are you glad that there's no more school dinners now? And you can just like pack lunches? I mean, in my day, school dinners were terrible. So, you know, hopefully they've improved by now. But if it's anything to go with what I used to have when I was a kid, that's almost like a blessing in disguise, is it not?
Well, my son is back at school now. He's back having school dinners, whether he likes it or not. I've paid, so he's eating them.
Brilliant. Juliette, thanks very much for being with us, and we wish you good luck and the college as well and all the students out there.
Thank you.
Keep safe.
Very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Lovely.
Likewise. Take care,
Bye.
Juliette.
Living the life.